Antoine Griezmann has been one of the best players in this generation. During his time in football, he's already accomplished a lot, like winning the Europa League with Atletico Madrid, winning the World Cup with France, and also getting third place in the 2016 Ballon d'Or, falling behind the two goats of football, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. However, despite Griezmann being one of the best players in the world, his move to Barcelona was one to forget as he slowly became one of their biggest flops for the club. Regardless of this, Griezmann eventually bounced back this last season and is now back to his very best. So how did Antoine Griezmann go from being world class to a huge flop to now killing it in La Liga once again? Well, let's take a look at the rise, fall, and rise again of Antoine Griezmann. Griezmann was born on March 21st, 1991 in Macon, France. He was born to play football, with his family origins being tied to the sport. His grandfather on his mother's side was actually a Portuguese footballer, and he played for Pacos de Ferreira in Liga NOS. However, his grandfather moved to France to work a construction job, and that's where Griezmann's mom, Isabel Lopez, was born. Griezmann still has close Portuguese ties though, with him often spending holidays in Portugal when he was a young child, and him almost representing Portugal for the youth national teams. Now before this, Griezmann initially began his football career playing for his hometown club UF Macones, and his talent allowed him to have multiple trials with some top clubs in France like PSG, FC Metz, and Lyon. However, he was rejected from them all, and the reasons for this was because he was too small and scrawny. After these rejections, he still had a trial with French club Montpellier, and he was impressing a lot in the game for them. One of the scouts for Real Sociedad was actually watching the event and told Griezmann's father, Alain, to get in touch with him. Initially, the father thought it was a joke and wanted Griezmann to find a club in France or give up on football entirely. However, the main scout for Real Sociedad at the time, Eric Olhatz, was very persistent on trying to secure Antoine Griezmann, and he saw a lot of potential in him and saw him to be very technical, which in Spain is obviously something they love. Olhatz said that he knew that Griezmann was never going to be accepted in France due to French scouts always looking for athletic and physical abilities, while Spain always looked for the technical side of the game. And Griezmann knew he would succeed in a Spanish environment, which is why he was so persistent on bringing him over. Olhatz stayed in the French city to convince Alain, who is Antoine's father like I said before, to allow him to come to Spain. After 4 days, Griezmann's father was finally convinced, and later Antoine was accepted into Real Sociedad. Now at the time, Griezmann was 14 and he was having a hard time adjusting to life in Spain. He missed his family back at his home country, and whenever he visited back home for the holidays and came back, he often cried. However, the Real Sociedad scout, Olhatz, took good care of him like he was his own son. Before we move on to Griezmann's career though, I have to make a disclaimer about Eric Olhatz. To my knowledge, there's currently an ongoing trial right now regarding him and alleged sexual assault of minors, and him potentially having CP in possession, and no, I'm not talking about Christian Pulisic. Griezmann has said he hasn't spoken to Olhatz in years and the connection has been cut off for some time now, but I just wanted to let you know that this Olhatz guy is potentially very sus. Anyways, back to what you're here for. Griezmann ended up impressing the main coach of Sociedad at the time, Martin Lazarte, a lot in preseason, and then right before the 2009-10 campaign started, he was promoted to the Sociedad senior team. After making his competitive and league debut in quick succession, he got his first start on September 27, 2009, and scored his first professional goal against Huesca in a 2-0 win. Now fun fact, Real Sociedad was actually in the second division of Spain at this time, and Griezmann was trying to help them get promoted. Now he played consistently throughout the season for Sociedad, with him getting 6 goals in the 40 games he played for the team, all at just 18 years old. This also means that he played a very important role in helping Real Sociedad earn promotion to La Liga as the league winners. Griezmann played so well that he was awarded with a professional contract where he agreed to a 5-year deal with the club with a release clause of only 30 million euros. Then for the 2010-11 season, Griezmann made his debut in La Liga, and after the game he said it was like fulfilling a childhood dream. Griezmann then had some memorable moments in the season, like getting an assist against Real Madrid and scoring his first goal in the league in a 3-0 victory over Deportivo La Coruña. Overall, Griezmann's 7 goals and 4 assists in 39 matches helped Sociedad stay up in La Liga after only finishing 2 points above relegation. Then for the 2011-12 season, Real Sociedad actually finished mid-table, and a huge reason for this was because of Griezmann, because at the start of the campaign, Sociedad lost 8 out of the 13 matches, but Griezmann's 8 goals and 4 assists in 38 matches helped Sociedad finish 12th. The reason I'm mentioning all of this is because it's becoming extremely evident that Griezmann was an important player for Real Sociedad. He was definitely one of the most integral pieces of the team. Now the next season for Real Sociedad was a big one, and obviously a huge reason for that was because of Antoine Griezmann, with him getting 11 goals and 5 assists in 35 games, his best record so far. Despite Real Sociedad losing 5 out of the first 9 games played in La Liga this season, and also with Griezmann getting an injury that left him out of the team for 3 weeks, Real Sociedad managed to finish 4th place in the league, qualifying them for the Champions League for the first time in 10 years. Real Sociedad clutched up, because in the remaining 23 games of the season, they only lost 1 game, which was a 4-3 defeat to Real Madrid. Besides that, Real Sociedad beat many good teams, like Sevilla, Valencia, and even Barcelona to help them achieve the qualification to the Champions League. Antoine Griezmann was definitely the center of this team, and he was proving to be pivotal and reliable, with him being one of the youngest players to achieve 100 La Liga games. Now in order for Antoine Griezmann to show that he was the real deal, deal, he had to perform well for the following 13-14 season. And although Sociedad as a whole did terribly in the Champions League, they did decent in La Liga, getting 7th place. But that does mean no Champions League for the following season. For Griezmann individually though, he excelled in this campaign, with him getting 20 goals and 5 assists in 50 games, a new record best for him. However, with Sociedad failing to get Champions League again, and with Griezmann craving for UCL football, the only solution was for him to leave the club and find another team that has Champions League football. And that's when in July 2014, Atletico Madrid reached an agreement with Real Sociedad for the transfer of Griezmann for a fee close to 30 million euros, which was around his release clause. But right before signing with Atletico Madrid, Griezmann got his first call up to play for the France national team in the tournament, and it was the biggest occasion of them all, the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Griezmann was supposed to be mainly a bench player, but with Ribery getting injured before their opening game against Honduras, Griezmann got the start in a 3-0 win. Not only that, in the round of 16 at the tournament, Griezmann forced the late own goal in a 2-0 victory before getting knocked out by Germany in the quarterfinals, where Griezmann got really emotional about losing and started to tear up. Now let's talk about Griezmann's first spell at Atletico Madrid, where he pretty much made his name of being a world-class footballer. Immediately, the manager of the club, Diego Simeone, wanted to use Griezmann as a false 9, which was really different from the way he originally set up his team when Diego Costa was around. This was a smart move by Simeone, because Griezmann ended up becoming an absolute goal machine for a defensive-minded club. Almost immediately in Griezmann's second game for the club, he provided the all-important assist against Real Madrid in the Supercopa final, which helped him win his first trophy for the club. He also then went on to score his first hat-trick for the club as well against Athletic Bilbao in a 4-1 win, and this helped him win the La Liga Player of the Month. Not only that, Griezmann's total goal contributions for the season ended up being 25 goals and 6 assists in 53 games, and his 22 goals in La Liga alone helped him overtake Karim Benzema for the highest total goals by a French player in a single Spanish top division campaign. Not only that, he was selected as the only Atletico Madrid player as one of the 3 forwards in the team of the year, alongside the GOATs Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. With an impressive first season at Atletico Madrid, his next one was bound to be better, and it was. Real quick before we talk about Griezmann's world-class season though, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it and it means a lot, so thank you. Anyways, with Mandzukic leaving the club, Griezmann was forced to step up, and he did, with him having his most prolific season ever as a professional footballer, with him getting a total of 32 goals and 7 assists in 54 games in the 15-16 campaign. This helped Atletico Madrid get 3rd place in the league, only missing out on winning the title by a small margin of 3 points. Anyways, Griezmann ended up winning the La Liga Player of the Season as well, beating out the likes of Ronaldo and Messi obviously. And in my opinion, Griezmann definitely deserved it. He might have finished 6th in the top goal scoring charts, but he was going up against MSN and BBC, and he still managed to get 22 goals for a defensive side. Griezmann really was on a different level. However, La Liga wasn't even the main focus for Atletico that season. That's because in the Champions League, the Spanish side was going off, and Griezmann was as well. With Antoine's 7 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League campaign, Atletico Madrid made the Champions League final, and the only team that was in the way left was Real Madrid, the same team that beat them in the final dramatically 2 years ago. Sadly, in Griezmann's big moment, he missed the penalty to tie up the game, in which Carrasco ended up later doing, but Atletico Madrid went on to lose in a penalty shootout against Real Madrid, which means they lost the final yet again. Nobody really blamed Griezmann for the loss though, because Atleti fans knew that without him, they wouldn't even have gone into the final in the first place. Then in the summer, the 2016 Euros hosted in France arrived, and obviously Griezmann was selected to be in the French squad and play an important part for the team, and Griezmann fulfilled his duties as well because he absolutely carried France in that tournament. Against Albania in the group stages, he came off the bench and scored in a 2-0 win. Then against Ireland in the round of 16, Griezmann scored both of the goals and helped defeat Ireland 2-1. Then against Iceland, Griezmann played more of a playmaker role and got 1 goal and 2 assists for France, which helped defeat Iceland 5-2. And of course, against Germany, the national team that knocked them out of the World Cup, Griezmann scored both of the goals, helping beat Germany 2-0 in the semifinals, meaning that Griezmann finally got his revenge. Those tears didn't end up being for nothing. Sadly, in the Euros final against Portugal, they lost 1-0 thanks to a cracking strike from Eder, but you can't blame Griezmann for not doing much in the final when he carried them all the way there. He put in MVP performances that entire tournament. Plus, I wasn't even that sad that France lost, because it did mean that Cristiano Ronaldo won his first international trophy for Portugal. Griezmann did get a little bit of a consolation though, with him winning the player of the tournament, so there's that. Now for the 16-17 campaign, Griezmann dropped similar stats to the season prior, getting 26 goals and 12 assists in 53 games, only 1 goal contribution less compared to the season prior. However, something historical happened this season, and it has to do with the Ballon d'Or. That's right, for the 2016 ceremony, Griezmann finished at a respectable 3rd place with 198 votes, only behind the 2 GOATs who dominated the Ballon d'Or for years, Lionel Messi with 316 votes, and Cristiano Ronaldo, who won the Ballon d'Or that year with 745 votes. Now, nothing really major happened this season for Atletico. They went trophyless yet again, but Griezmann did become the 2nd freshman after Karim Benzema to score 100 La Liga goals. So there's that. Now, as I just mentioned, Atletico had another trophyless season, and Griezmann was starting to get really bothered by there not being much success. He was then heavily linked to Manchester United, and he was entertaining the offer, which made fans start to get frustrated with him. However, Griezmann ended up extending his contract for another year because he learned that Atletico was given a transfer ban, so if he left, Atletico would not have been able to sign a replacement, so he stayed for that next season, and staying ended up being the right move. That's because Griezmann went on to enjoy a very successful 17-18 campaign. He set a new personal record for himself, getting 29 goals and 15 assists in 49 games, which meant that he got a total of 44 goal contributions in that season, the first time he got 40 plus goal contributions in his career. This helped Atletico Madrid finish second place, which obviously isn't an accomplishment because they didn't win the league, but they did win something else. That's because although Atletico started in the Champions League, they finished third place in the group and got knocked down to the Europa League, and Griezmann went off, scoring a goal against every opponent they faced in the competition. He got a goal and an assist against Copenhagen, 2 goals and 1 assist against Lokomotiv Moscow, 1 goal against Sporting Lisbon, 1 goal and 1 assist against Arsenal in the semi-finals, and then he scored 2 goals in the final against Marseille, helping Atletico win a European trophy after a good while. Now, after the successful season for Griezmann, there was a lot of drama in the summer, and this had to do with the Griezmann-Barcelona saga right before the World Cup. Griezmann made a huge 1-hour TV special about his decision to whether he's going to stay at Atletico Madrid or go to FC Barcelona. This obviously went bad with both fan bases, because why is a player making such a big deal on whether he's staying or going? Both fan bases started to dislike Griezmann a little bit as they were getting annoyed with his ego. In the end, Griezmann signed a contract extension with Atletico Madrid and said that Atletico was his home. Judging by next summer though, he definitely didn't mean these words. But before that, we gotta talk about the 2018 World Cup, because Griezmann's successes from the 17-18 campaign only continues to grow. Now, as I hinted, Griezmann had a very successful World Cup, with him winning the bronze ball, being the 3rd best player at the competition. So what did he do? Well, a lot. In the group stages, he scored the first goal against Australia to get a 2-1 win. Then in the knockout rounds, he really carried France, because against Argentina, he got 1 goal which helped secure a 4-3 win. Then against Uruguay in the quarterfinals, he got 1 goal and 1 assist in a 2-0 win. And then against Belgium, he got the all-important assist in a 1-0 win. And then finally in the World Cup final against Croatia, Griezmann won player of the match, with him getting 1 goal and 2 assists in the final. Getting 3 goal contributions in a World Cup final is insane, and Griezmann did that. And yes, I know, Mbappe did as well 4 years later, but who cares about that right now? Now, when he got back to Atletico Madrid though, that's where his fall from the top finally started. He was initially getting booed by his own Atletico fans for that stunt he pulled off in the summer, where he made a whole fiasco about whether he's going to stay or go. Then he'd also go on and have his least prolific season with Atletico Madrid since he joined the club, with him getting 21 goals and 10 assists in 48 games. Now, don't get me wrong, getting 31 goal contributions in one season is insane, but considering his other Atletico Madrid seasons, this might have been the worst of the lot. Atletico fans started to resent him even more towards the end of the season, where on my birthday, May 14, 2019, Griezmann announced that he would be leaving Atletico Madrid before the season even ended, and it was pretty clear that Barcelona were going to pay his €120 million release clause, and he was set to join them. Then in the summer, it happened, and Griezmann betrayed Atletico Madrid fans and joined their rivals Barcelona for that huge sum of money. This amount of cash definitely set the expectations high for Griezmann, and as we all know, Griezmann didn't really live up to these expectations. There was also a huge debate about his release clause, with reports stating that Griezmann told Barcelona to wait until his release clause drops from 200 million to 120 million, which is illegal in the transfer business to do that, and this disagreement went to court. However, the transfer to Barcelona was upheld, meaning that Griezmann became a Barcelona player. Now, from the outside looking in, it always felt like Griezmann was an outcast with the Barcelona team. He always and only hung around his French Barca teammates like Longley and Umtiti, and he never really got on the Barca fans' best side, with him not being one of their favorite players. Now, Griezmann had a very poor season to his standards, since he only got 19 goal contributions, with him only getting 15 goals and 4 assists in 48 games. In a span of 2 seasons, his goal contributions dropped by 25. Griezmann really was falling off. Not only that, with the pandemic delaying 11 games of the La Liga season, Griezmann only managed to get 1 goal in that, which was just shocking to his ridiculously high standards. The next 2021 season didn't go that well either, but it was a bit better. He got 20 goals and 13 assists in 51 games, getting a total of 33 goal contributions, which is significantly better from the 19 he got the season prior. Still though, watching Griezmann, you can see that he wasn't performing at his best like he was at Atletico Madrid. At Atletico, it felt like he was the center and the star of the team, so everything went through him, and that's where you had Griezmann at his best. However, at Barcelona, everything revolves around Messi, essentially leaving Griezmann as a very expensive and talented role player, which is something that he isn't the best at, and is also why he looked so poor in a Barcelona shirt. Now, he did lift his first and only trophy with Barcelona, with him scoring a goal in a 4-0 win over Athletic Bilbao in the 2021 Copa del Rey final, but one trophy in his 2 seasons at the club is definitely nowhere near worth his price tag of 120 mil. One of the worst parts of the season though is that Atletico Madrid has signed ex-Barca striker Luis Suarez, and then Atletico won their first La Liga title in forever, something that Griezmann never achieved with Atletico Madrid. He had to watch his friends and his beloved team lift the trophy without him. Poor Griezmann, bruh. However, there was light at the end of the tunnel, because Barcelona were tired of having Griezmann on their team. That's when, ironically, they loaned him back to Atletico Madrid on a 1-year loan, with an option to extend the loan by a further year. Now, initially, the Atletico Madrid fans were not happy, because after all, Griezmann made a mockery of them and left to one of their rivals, and now he's coming back when he's at his lowest. They can't just forgive him after everything he did. Not only that, his first season back didn't even convince Atletico Madrid fans to forgive give him as well, because he had a muscle injury that kept him out for around 2 months, and he only managed to get 8 goals and 7 assists in 39 games, which means he only got 15 goal contributions, 4 less than his first season at Barcelona, which was an absolute stinker. However, the 22-23 season for Griezmann turned his career around and helped Atleti fans see past his prior mistakes. Initially, the season didn't start off well because Griezmann was only allowed to play around 30 minutes a match. Why? Because despite Atletico Madrid wanting to rebuy Griezmann, they did not want to trigger the appearance release clause, where if Griezmann played more than a certain amount of minutes, Atletico would owe Barcelona a lot of money. Despite this, Griezmann was getting goal contributions in his limited minutes, and even scored an extremely late clutch goal against Porto in the Champions League. Atletico did end up agreeing terms with Barcelona for the permanent signing of Griezmann, and Antoine was finally allowed to play more than just half an hour. And Griezmann did not look back. He got a total of 16 goals and 19 assists in 48 games, and this helped him top the assist chart by a large margin for that season. Griezmann was also playing a different role compared to before, and he's excelling in it. I mean, just listen to these stats. Compared to the other forwards in La Liga, he was in the 99th percentile for key passes, expected assists, and passes into the final third. He was also in the 97th percentile for progressive passes and through balls, and in the 96th percentile for goal creating actions. With him still only being 32 years old, Griezmann has shown that he is back to his best self on the football pitch, and he's still capable of being one of the elite attackers of the future. And despite him having a lot of controversies as a footballer, like being involved with Dembele when that Asian racist incident happened, or even that blackface incident, Griezmann is still an absolute baller on the pitch and a clear inspiration to kids who want to grow up and be exactly like him in the sport. I think Griezmann is one of the most elite footballers of this generation, and I'm really glad he's doing well again. I hope he excels at Atletico Madrid next season, and maybe even finally win a La Liga title for them. Who knows? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about another elite footballer, Alphonso Davies, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.